Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Metal Mondays with Maiden. We have 3 epic cassettes. We have Iron Maiden's Power Slave, Peace Sells But Who's Buying for Megadeth, and the cassette single of Creeping Death from Metallica. Let's go ahead and get into it. These 3 were chosen by the community, and these were ones that people wanted to see, so let's go ahead and talk about them. First up, we have Peace Sells But Who's Buying for Megadeth. This was their second release and featured the lineup of Garth Samuelson, Chris Poland, David Ellefson, and Dave Mustaine. The record was originally recorded through Combat. Combat then sold the mix and the record rights to Capitol, and then it was subsequently finished under the Capitol Records banner. This featured an epic song called Wake Up Dead, and of course, Peace Sells But Who's Buying. That's an epic song that's still in the staple for Megadeth live records today. The album cover was made by Ed Repka and features Vic Rattlehead in front of the United Nations headquarters after it's been quote-unquote blown up. Chris Poland would then go on to play with Megadeth in 2004. Recording of System Has Failed, but Garth Samuelson on the drums was never, ever allowed back in to Megadeth and subsequently died of a heroin overdose. So rest in peace, Garth Samuelson. He was the sound behind the first 2 Megadeth records. He was the engine behind the band. And that was released September the 19th, 1986, and was recorded at Music Grinder, Track Records, and Rocksteady in LA between February and March of 86. So next up, we have this epic record, Iron Maiden's Power Slave. This is the 5th recording from Iron Maiden. And this was recorded after they concluded the World Peace Tour in December 1983. And they finished the record in 3 weeks in January. And this was also recorded at Compass Point Studios in Nassau, Bahamas, and mixed at Electric Ladyland in New York City. And then they went on to do the World Slavery Tour. So you can see this is an early Capitol recording as well. Black Shell, Canadian printing. And this actually has a few of the epic tracks from Iron Maiden, like Rime of the Ancient Mariner, Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Duelists, and Flash of the Blade. Flash of the Blade is one of my favorite songs. So it's interesting because Power Slave World Tour started in Poland, and Iron Maiden was one of the first bands to tour the old Soviet Union bloc countries. And then they came to North America, and they opened the World Slavery in North America in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, which is where this backdrop that I have was signed by the band in 84. And that's the Aces High single in the background, and it's autographed by the band. So that's a really fun recording. World Slavery went on for 11 months. It was 28 countries. This album hit number 2 in the charts, and it made made Iron Maiden one of the biggest bands in Europe, especially Eastern Europe, the old Soviet Union. They are huge there. It's still are to this day. So last but not least, we have the epic Creeping Death single. This is on the Music for Nations label, similar to Jump in the Fire. So 1984. It was released on November 23rd, 1984. And it was the only commercial single for Ride the Lightning. Fade to Black and For Whom the Bell Tolls are only issued as promo singles. They were not actual, real, legit singles off Ride the Lightning. Creeping Death goes on to describe the plagues in Egypt and is still played almost on every live show Metallica ever does. They always play Creeping Death. The song was written by Kirk Hammett as a teen, and he played various versions of that song with Exodus when he played with Exodus before joining Metallica. The cover art was designed by Alvin Petty, And they actually just lithographed the Metallica logo and the Creeping Death logo here on top of his original artwork. There was a single that was released on Music for Nations. It was a 12-inch single. And it was also released in England as a 12-inch single. So the B-sides of this album were Am I Evil? I'm on focus here. There we go. There we go. Am I Evil from Diamond Head, and the song Blitzkrieg from the band Blitzkrieg. So that's the three for this week, guys. We have Creeping Death, the second album of Megadeth, Peace Sells What Who's Buying, and the fifth studio record of Iron Maiden's Power Slave. They're all epic in their own right. They all stand up on their own, even all these years later. You know, you got Peace Sells, great track, Power Slave, Flash of the Blade, Rhyme in the Ancient Mariner, and of course, Creeping Death. Can't go wrong. So that's what we got for this week. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you all next week. Hope you have a good week.